to visit us have had to wear sunglasses. They can't deal with the pain of looking into the sun and the TV lights. You apparently are tougher than most.
This is a true story, Laura. My father taught me as a young coach, coaches do not wear sunglasses.
I love this.
Wow.
Okay,
Please
so
expand.
so I was like, but we're in San Diego, right? And I'm like, well, it's bright outside. He's like, the players have to see your eyes when you're coaching them.
Tomlinson could wear the tinted visor,
Yeah.
but you can't wear
Hey,
sunglasses.
it's Marty Schottenheimer.
I
So,
like
but literally,
that.
honestly, true story. I was like, okay, makes sense. Because when you're correcting or criticizing,
Yes.
they're like, I want to see your eyes.
Man.
So it's pretty cool. The other coaches I let wear, but I'll never change.
I love
So
that.
I guess
do
I've
too.
built up toughness. I've built up
That's
toughness.
it. That's good.
I was trying to give you a compliment. I did not expect such an incredible answer to come out of that question. That was absolute beautiful. Okay, how many times have you been asked about George Pickens today? Because we're going to ask you again. Where are
Who?
we? I know. Where are we on George Pickens, a long-term
Put
deal?
the sunglasses on.
Yeah, exactly. You don't wanna look at me in the eye
next
after
question,
this.
yeah. I tell you what, it's going to play out the way it plays out. GP was amazing last year. I really didn't know we were going to get, and when I got him, I just fell in love with him. The very first meeting, I have a basketball hoop in my office, and I beat him. We played a little bit
I
of
love that.
best
Nice.
of three. Yeah, I beat him. He'll probably deny that, but from that point on, I just knew he just loves football, and he makes us better, and it'll play out how it plays out, but we expect him to be a Cowboy for a long time.
Last year around this time, it was Micah's contract, and it dragged on. And obviously now we're in a new offseason, and you guys bring in Rashawn Gary. All right, and when you get Rashawn Gary, you get this player that has shown flashes, but there might be something even more he can get to. How excited are you guys to have Rashawn Gary on the edge, and what can he bring to this Dallas defense?
Yeah, I mean, having played him for a number of years, going back to Seattle, playing Green Bay, and we played him, of course, last year. The guy is unbelievable. Number one player in high school, whenever he graduated, going to Michigan, top 12 draft pick. We think he's still got room to improve. I think we've put together a heck of a defensive coaching staff. Christian Parker kind of spearheading that thing. But we're really excited, and we think he's going to, again, do a great job rushing off the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some pretty good players inside.
Sure
There's a
do.
guy by the name of Quinnen Williams
Pretty
that
good.
might play a little bit
Pretty
for
good.
us. Kenny Clark.
Former teammate of his. Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
The cool thing for me was Kenny's reaction when he heard
he
about
excited?
the trade. He was so excited. And then we've got a pass rush consultant by the name of BT Jordan, who's incredible. And we took him from Denver.
Yeah.
And they've been pretty productive the last couple of years. So
Yeah.
we're really excited.
2 picks in the first round. A lot of people have talked about defensive star power going your way and that being the picks, but you kind of said something earlier that maybe it wouldn't just all be defense. What's the thought process as you look toward the draft, and especially these 2 crucial picks in the first round?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. We're excited to have that firepower. We obviously made moves to do that. We feel like we've set ourselves up to draft pure, to draft natural. There's still some holes on defense that we'd like to fix, but I wasn't there for it. But they love telling the story about CeeDee Lamb sitting there, and all of a
Falls
sudden,
to 18.
all of a sudden he's sitting there at 18.
Also,
and
the
you're
best
like,
draft
yeah.
setup in a yacht. Yeah, that's pretty
Well,
good. It's
yeah.
fine. Yeah, it's not
I've
bad.
been on the yacht. It's pretty
It's
nice.
not
yeah,
bad.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I could do that all for a year.
Yeah.
We're gonna draft pure. Our guys do a great job, from Jerry and Steve and Will McClay, his staff. They do a great job, and yeah, you never know. I was teasing there. You guys probably saw it, but our offense coordinator Clayton Adams, who I think is amazing, every night before he leaves, he just kind of knocks on my door and says, "Shotty, don't forget about me." Yeah. Hey, don't forget about me. I'm like, I got you, buddy.
You also look at the new defensive coordinator that you mentioned, Christian Park, comes from the Eagles, defensive backs coach, 34 years old, young guy. What is he going to bring to this defense that you're so excited about?
Well, connection first. I'm a big connection guy. I'm a people person. He's awesome. It's been really cool for me, Peter, to walk by and see the players coming into his office just to hang out, get to know him. He's got great conviction in what he wants to do. And I gave him a hard time when we first hired him because he was actually the 9th interview. The 9th Zoom we did.
That's interesting.
And I literally was like, man, I'm zoomed out. I don't know if I can do another one. And a couple of the guys were like, I do one more. This guy's supposed to be really good. And from the time we interviewed him, he just kind of kept wanting more. But I gave him a hard time. I said, hey, 34, huh? He said, yeah, 34. And I was like, I was 32 when I got my first coordinator job. So I gave him, I said, well, hey, you've been slacking, man. But he's great. And the connection piece, and then the versatility of coverages he's going to bring to us. I mean, this guy's an elite secondary coach, and we're just lucky to have him.
As you look toward next year, just almost bigger picture, what's something you want to change or you want to do a little differently?
I look at myself and the team and everything we do, Laura, from an after-action report in every phase. Things we did well, things we need to do better, and then how do we do better. And there's a number of things, but I referenced my father earlier, to be -9 in the giveaway takeaway formula. It's pretty impressive. We found a way to win 7
still won
games
the games.
doing that. We gave it away too much on offense. We didn't get takeaways. So we emphasized it last year. We're going to drill it more and do different things and have ball security circuits and ball disruption circuits. If we don't fix that number, then we're poised to repeat last year, and we're not going to do that.
I go back with Jerry Jones, and I think of all his great Jerry-isms, and it's whether it's circumcise the mosquito, one of my favorites. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're not going to circumcise the mosquito. Does he ever drop some gems on you where you're like, I don't even know what that necessarily means, but then you start thinking about it, and you're like, no, I see the comment, I see the analogy, and okay, Jerry, I'm on the same path.
The funny thing for me is, like, I'm one of the newer guys around Jerry when you're sitting around with Will McClay and Stephen Jones, and so they've heard all the stories. So when Jerry starts telling a story, some reason his eyes always make
He's
mine.
on the edge of your
He's like,
seat.
it's a new one.
This is great. Where's this going?
And Stephen will grab his phone. He's like, yeah, I've heard this one 35 times, and but I love those stories, man. Growing up in an NFL household, man, like, it's like, that's Jerry Jones, and so he's great.
We're gonna have to find out when he starts cycling back around. It's gonna be like, who's he gonna look to?
Yes,
it
this
may
is-
still be
There's
you.
no question.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap this up because we could talk to you all day. But we appreciate your time, Coach, and can't wait to see you down the road.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, got it. That's tape to tape. Yeah, got it. I can't
George
see.
Pickens' first season with the Cowboys could not have gone better. Pickens put up career highs in catches, yards, and touchdowns while playing every game, being named to the Pro Bowl for the first time and earning second-team All-Pro honors. We heard Coach talking there about the franchise tag situation for George Pickens. As Adam Schefter joining us. Adam, what more can you tell us about where things stand there for Pickens and the Cowboys?
Well, Laura, he is not allowed to report to the Cowboys facility unless he signs his franchise tag. And he's not signing his franchise tag anytime soon, which means by the transitive property, if he hasn't signed and he can't be there, he's not going to be there until they have some sort of deal. So literally, unless the two sides can make some sort of progress, we're not going to see George Pickens during the offseason program. The chances are, as is the case with many of these situations, they come down to the deadline in mid-July, whether they can get the deal done in time or not. And that probably is going to be the case here, which means we could check back and have this discussion around the July 4th holiday. Until then, no talk of George Pickens. Table it
Good luck.
because we just won't see him.
Who are you
He's not
talking
allowed
to?
to be there, right?
I mean,
Peter?
I'm not tabling it. I'm going to keep asking you about
What are we
it.
talking about? You got that star on the helmet.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the reality. It's like death taxes and talking about the Cowboys around July 15th when it comes to this deadline.
And let me also say this. When we discussed Micah Parsons at this time last year, we
Yeah.
all operated under the assumption that he was going to sign a long-term extension,
Right.
and that didn't happen. So some of these situations are difficult to predict. Dallas, which is very patient and very methodical, might be even more difficult to predict. But the one thing I feel confident in saying is that we won't be seeing George Pickens for a little while
Can I
here.
say what the kids say? Adam just cooked.
He cooked.
He
Yeah, he
cooked.
did.
That was a
But
cook,
It
yeah.
was like a fried egg on the sidewalk here. It was so hot. Mina, so when you think about the reality here, I mean, there could be a world where George Pickens is no longer a Cowboy. They're obviously hoping to work this out. How important is he to that offense and what he brings to the table for what they're really going to try to do next season?
They got to keep him in the building. And my thinking on this has evolved, Laura, because at first I was like apprehensive about the notion of paying two quarterbacks a ton of money, thinking about the Bengals and all the needs on defense. But as I prepared for this draft and started watching all the receivers, and there are some really good ones, I found myself thinking, particularly as it pertains to a couple of them, this guy could be George Pickens. They have George Pickens, right? He would be wide receiver 1 in this class with a bullet. And so I think you look at offense that was top 5 last year, 5th in EPA per play, 4th in yards per play. You know what you've got. Yes, they need to make additions on defense, but they have ammunition in the draft to do so, and this is a good drafting team. So if I'm Dallas, I really try to make the bird in hand, which is Pickens, work out here, because you know that with him and Lamb and Dak Prescott, you have a top 5 offense.
It's funny because we spend all this time on the Eagles and their wide receiver, and then now it's like, all right, now we're going to turn the page from A.J. Brown. Now we're going to talk about George Pickens, all in the NFC East. Shotty was really honest with us. He wants George Pickens to be a Cowboy. George Pickens wants to be a Cowboy. He told us that great story about competing at Nerf basketball in his office, and the two of them have this great connection, and I think he rehabilitated his entire career. But money talks. And the Cowboys don't typically get these things done, as Adam said, in March and April. And with the case of Zeke and CeeDee Lamb and Dak, they always got done last year was the fly in the ointment because Micah didn't get done and things went haywire and Micah was talking and he was stretching during the preseason game at practice or whatever it was. I would imagine they're going to be working very hard once that deadline approaches. In the meantime, they have the 12th and the 20th pick, and I wouldn't just say defense. If they do see a wide receiver that slips that they think is interesting at 12 or 20, I think they'll keep their mind and they'll keep their eyes open for that.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because it is interesting to see what they do in the first round. At 12 and 20, I mean, impactful picks. And let's get back to Adam with some more top stories. The Cowboys have been linked to Clemson's Avion Terrell as a potential draft pick next month. What happened with him today?
Well, Laura, he held a pro day at Clemson today, which is really interesting because he didn't participate in Clemson's pro day earlier due to a hamstring injury. And on the very first run today, during the pro day in which 29 NFL teams were in attendance, he aggravated his hamstring injury. So he did not get to work out. That's not how you want to head into the pro draft. Was projected as a 1. We'll still see if he winds up going as a 1, but that hamstring is going to be a question. Meanwhile, Dan Campbell talked today about the idea of this organization and team moving Penei Sewell over to left tackle. Taylor Decker obviously not going to be back in Detroit, not expected back. They need somebody to play left tackle, protect Jared Goff's blind side, and it certainly sounds like the all-world offensive lineman, Penei Sewell, may be the guy that winds up at left tackle. And despite the fact that other people said that the 49ers were ready to move on from Brandon Ayuk, that does not change. Of course they are. But here's what Kyle Shanahan said today. They're in no rush to move on because they want to try to trade him. They are going to be patient. They're going to wait for some team to offer something. I don't know how much they'll get back in return, but on draft weekend, there might be a team that's willing to flop picks, and all of a sudden, you have Brandon Ayuk included in that deal. I think that the 49ers feel like they paid Brandon Ayuk. They gave him the deal he wanted, and in return, they're allowed to do what they want because they hold his contractual rights. So if he wants to go sign with Washington and play with Jaden Daniels, that's fine, but they're going to have some say about where they will try to trade him, and we'll see if they're able to pull off anything here in next month's draft.
All right, you had hinted that not that long ago. So, Adam, the confirmation today coming from Kyle Shanahan.